All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Fitfam podcast. This is Hilary, Miss Natural Olympia.
And this is Doug, the formulator.
We're really excited. This podcast really is about goal setting and why some people achieve them and why others don't, but it's a great time for it because it's the new year.
Yeah, we're talking all about resolutions. How are we doing? How's everybody doing? It's January what, 9th today?
So they'll be watching this here this week, like 10th, 11th.
Okay, so which is good because as I was doing research on resolutions, it was talking about, how long people make it. And I guess there's Quitters Friday or something.
Well, January 18th is a big day. So 18th. But
I thought
the
17th.
January 17th, 18th, that's the time frame where most people actually quit. The ones that fell. The high majority of them fell during that time, the 17th, 18th of January. So you're like, dang, you set these resolutions or goals anytime during the year, right? Because I think people get caught up on January 1st, but really it's at 18 days. And so anytime during the year you set new goals and you're all excited and you go at it, but then all of a sudden it starts to wane. And before the end of the 3 weeks, you fall off.
Okay, which leads me into one of my New Year's resolutions. So, Doug and I had a New Year's resolution of, do the easy things, right? And we're doing okay at it. But one of those things is ice baths. So ice baths, while difficult in the thought of sitting in cold water, is 3 minutes, right? So that's really not that hard to do, 3 minutes out of your day. So our goal was 3 a week. I got one last week. And I've got one under my belt this week. So I could look at that as a failure in my New Year's resolution, or I can look at it as 2 more this year than I would have done, or 2 more in January than I would have done otherwise, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the point of, for me anyways, of New Year's resolutions and goal setting. It's not always the attainment of the goal, but it's the working towards the attainment of the goal.
And that's it. And what's interesting is I looked into that date, around the 18th when people fall off to see what that meant. Like, what criteria did they use to say that's when people fail? Well, that's a group of people that actually stop going at all towards their goal. And so that is a fail. But failure is not an option in our language for us as a family, and we suggest for you. And really, it's either you win or you learn. And so for Hilary, setting the goal at 3 times a week, she's learned that it's going to take a little bit more effort or planning, whatever it might be, to get the 3 and every week. But she's already got some in, and she's not going to quit. So January, today isn't the day that all of a sudden it's over with. It's okay. I learned that I need to add a few more things to my regimen to be able to make it happen.
Honestly, what I learned is I have to get psyched up. And if I can psych myself up enough, I can do it, and I don't need anybody there coaxing me.
Yeah, and that kind of leads to one of the main points I want to make today. Is that okay? Is that you're great at doing it yourself, right? And I think sometimes you choose to do it yourself versus having others help you with it, which is really unique because most people, including myself, I'm not that way. I really like to surround myself with those that are like going to push me, in fact, harass me and give me a hard time if I don't. So being in the NBA for so long, you get that, like everyone, in a not nice way, but it's fun. And so it's my way. And so it doesn't have to be your way. Hilary being able to do it herself it's a great trait. So I work to surround myself with people that will help do it with me and hold me accountable, and those that I will look to also that are doing better at it than me. And so
isn't the saying you're the sum of the top 5 people you hang out with?
Absolutely. I think that's a great example of really what we want to do with goals and New Year's resolutions and goals through the year is one of the biggest things we get is I'm not sure what goals to set, right? And I'm not sure what I should do. Well, we heard a great comment the other day from one of our mentors that said, look, all you have to do is if you want to set a goal in the health world, go start hanging out with healthier people, and you're going to understand really quick which goal you should set, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And we worked to improve finances. And so we started hanging around those with a much higher finances, and it became very
And
clear.
finance IQ.
And finance IQ, and it became very clear what we should do. And the same thing holds true with any area of life. And one area I think that's overlooked in that is happiness. Is, oh my gosh, like if you want to be happier, hang around happier people. And it's so true. When you hang around happier people, you're like, man, I really could be thankful for that and have more gratitude. And they're happy in this situation versus, the Debbie Downers and that. So you got to make sure you're around happy people, spiritual, anything. If you have a hard time setting your goals, be around people at a higher level of that place that you want to set that goal in, and it'll naturally come to you.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think also, so I'm gonna backtrack just a bit,
Okay.
and then we'll kind of get back into it. Is that okay?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, I have just some fun facts that I want to go.
I love fun facts.
Okay, good.
You don't like my fun facts. You like your fun facts.
Mine are better
Okay.
than yours.
All right.
I kid. I mean, these ones are. But anyways, okay. So how about the how did New Year's resolutions come about? Like, where did it originate?
I don't know. How did they?
Well, let me tell you.
Okay.
Forbes has let us know. Okay, or actually, this was from the History Channel. But the practice of making resolutions for the new year is thought to have first caught on among the ancient Babylonians, who made promises in order to earn the favor of the gods and start the New Year's off on the right foot.
Wow, that's really cool.
Isn't that kind of cool?
I like that.
I like it
Good
too.
idea.
I like it too. And there's something about a fresh and new beginning. I think that's why a lot of people like to set New Year's resolutions. There's something about that, it being brand new. That's why a lot of people, when they're ready to start like a new fitness program or diet, they do it on a Monday, right? Because it's like okay, I'm starting the week clean. So there's something about a brand new year that brings brand new possibilities. And I think we all really like that. In fact, 36 to 44% of Americans set New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, and I actually think that's a little
Lower?
bit low because I
Mhm.
think people always think of things they can do that they might not just write it down and talk about it. But I can see that, that's the group that actually lays it out, puts it out there, maybe is willing to report on it.
Oh,
And
there
I
you
think
go.
mentally, everyone will think about the new year and what they can do better and
they
reflection and
want
that
in
and
the
what
new
they
year.
want. Absolutely.
Yeah. So something that is cool in 2024 versus even 2023 is that the 48%, more than other things, 48% of people wanted improved fitness. That was the top priority for 2024. And I was like, how cool is it that it's the word fitness and it flows right into, our acronym. So, but what was cool is they chose fitness. Back in 2023, the top was mental health. And so that actually fell third. So it was improve fitness, finances, then mental health, and then lose weight and improved diet.
And what's interesting with that is there were some great new studies that came out in 2023 showing that the absolute number one thing you can do to improve mental health is improve your physical health. And so I think there might have been a lot of that change of people even innately realizing it or hearing from their health professional or hearing that study that says, okay, time out, that if I am more fit, then I can mentally be stronger and it can help with it. Because in reality, there was a big change that happened in 2023 too with the study, and people kind of play into it a little bit. But the bottom line is that we know now that our muscles can help the body secrete chemicals for hormonal and mental health. Now, understand it's not a part of the endocrine system, but the research study was saying it's an integral part of your mental health, of oxytocin, of dopamine, of serotonin, of your hormonal health with testosterone, progesterone, estrogen. And so I love that people are realizing that whether it's innately or they heard about it,
Yeah.
that really should be, I believe, should be everyone's number one priority.
And here's kind of an opinion. This is definitely an opinion of mine. I believe that a lot of your mental health comes from confidence and confidence in yourself. And how do you gain confidence in yourself? By sticking to things you say you're going to do. Well, what's the best and quickest way to do something like that is to create these physical goals that you can meet, and even just short-term or easy goals that you can hit daily, right? And it just kind of builds your confidence in yourself, and so which helps with mental health.
Absolutely. And here's a big tip, because you have so many podcasts, so many places that tell you how to set goals and what to do, set smart goals. And everyone will say, start, get your little baby steps and all that. And you're like the same thing over and over again. And every you hear it. And we thought, what can we do to share with you? Because we've hung around with and worked with people that seem to be like, they set a goal and they just achieve it, right? Like we're around people that blow my mind. It makes me feel like just a wimp. I'm like, I get better at this because they're just so great at it. And like, what is the difference between them and others? And the best way to explain it is I use this analogy a lot, but it's with AI. It's basically being able to say, look, how does AI learn things? And it learns things because it does not allow the word fail into its programming. It's always a learn. So back to how we started the podcast, the number one thing I think that we could share that maybe isn't talked about enough is as you set your goals, as you set your New Year's resolutions, don't allow the times that you're not up to speed, you don't get the 3 ice baths in, you don't quite lose that much weight or whatever it might be a fail to you. Allow it to be a learn and immediately say, what can I do to improve those statistics, to improve the amount of times I do actually do that or the speed at which I'm doing it. And if you never allow the word fail to come, like a lot of people must do on the 18th, because they're like, oh, I'm done, then you're going to make that progress. You're going to get there. And for some of us, we start slower than others, but we catch up, right? Because once we got it, we got it. Hillary's a great example of that. Is she'll take her time to learn and might take a little extra time, but once she's got it, she'll pass me and everyone else up. She's in it. I'm more of like jump all in and go, and I'm kind of going. But those that maybe learned it a little bit more will catch up and pass me. So I think that's really the number one takeaway is just don't give up. Don't give up. And the best way to do it is never allow the word fail to come into your mind. It's just a learn. It's
I
just a
like
learn.
that. I think one of the things that can be, since the improved fitness was the top priority, I feel like that flows really well into what we believe fitness is. And for us, true fitness isn't just about your physical being and what you're able to accomplish in a gym or outside the gym in sport. True fitness is all encompassing. So it is focused, intense thought, which brings you back to your why and having a driving goal behind what it is you're trying to accomplish. So focused, intense thought, your nutrition, how you feed your body, how you feed your mind, how you feed your muscles, how you feed your spirit, right? And then exercise, how you train in a gym, how you train outside of a gym, your physicality, how much movement and activity you get. And then supplementation, where we can kind of fix those little areas that need just a bit more
Fill in the puzzle, right?
fill in the puzzle with those vitamins and minerals that we need in our diets.
And most of the time with goals and everything else in life, people will fail multiple times, learn multiple times, and they're right on the edge and they realize that and they're like, dang, I was right about there. And that's where a lot of these things within the fitness acronym come into play, meaning the right mindset. Is your why big enough? The supplements, if your vitamin D's there, it's harder to get depressed. Your nutrients
Right.
are higher. You're going to make quicker thoughts. You're going to have more energy, right? You're not going to be just, I'm just too tired. So all these little things really add up so that it'll help you get over that hump and you'll be able to be an achiever like you see a lot of people do.
That's exactly what I was trying to say with that. That's perfect. So I think too, something for me that's really big for 2024, and I have caught myself multiple times already in 2024, the language that I use.
Language is
Doug
everything.
is really great about language and what comes out of his mouth, and he's careful about what he speaks into the world. I oftentimes feel a certain way, and I just want to spat it out and get it out. So I'm trying to be more thoughtful in the language that I use to make things more possible and give myself more possibilities in 2024. So one of the things that I have really focused on is I can't. We've realized
I hate that word.
I can't comes out of my mouth a lot. And it's not just around big things, it's around small things. So just revamping what I need to say to not use I can't.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I truly couldn't make it to something, instead of saying I can't, what is the way I could say? Like, if I'm unable to make it to a meeting and you ask me to make it, what can I say other than I can't?
Well, You can do the hard truth, which as I chose something else as a priority over that time, or the thing that I chose to do before that, I allowed to run over. And thanks for being patient with me. Let's get going. That type of thing. Just so it's more of that the truth factor because something else took priority, right? And so that's the key with it.
And then also, what about if I feel like something is too hard and I can't?
Right.
So how do you replace that?
Well, that's the big thing is that's what's used the most, I think, where people say, I can't learn that program, right? I can't follow macros. I can't do these. I can't get blood work.
I can't push that amount of weight.
And so the key with that is that most of the time, it's a choose not to. I choose not to learn that. I could learn that. Right. So it's not an I can't thing. There's very few things that I can't. It's even like moving something. I could get a lever and move something if I need to. Right. So, and that's really the way that we look at it. And that's where the self-talk comes in, is being able to say to yourself, you do what's most important to you, what you want to do. And whether you want to accept it or not is the truth. And so use the words appropriately and it'll help you make changes with it. I'm like, wow, I can do that. And it kind of comes back to, you have to have a belief of who you are. And we believe with all of our heart that we're created by a supreme creator, right? Whatever you call it, we call it God, Heavenly Father. And because of that, that's who we are, right? That's who we are. So we could do anything. We could accomplish anything. So shouldn't be a part of it. I think it's disrespectful to our creation. It's we choose this. And it's important that for my age, I have a lot of friends that chose not to basically, surround themselves with or accept technology. And so they're still using the dot matrix, printers, or not using the computers. They're definitely not on Facebook or Instagram. And they're not using these programs in our company that are critical to growth. And it was a choice. Not that they can't do it, but if you ask them right now, they say they can't. It's just they chose not to.
Yeah, and I like the concept of using the words I choose, but I also like the concept of staying silent. Instead of, like, for example, if I'm in the gym and I'm being asked to push a certain amount of weight, focusing on trying to push that amount of weight. And what will come through is the effort put into moving it and not the words that I can't. And so if the effort is there, it will either come to pass through my own efforts or you'll jump in and you'll help me. So there's no reason to speak the word, right? So that's just a small thing. But I think the importance of small goals, or what do you say, short term. So the importance of short-term goals or small goals, and then big, gnarly, long-term goals. I think both are really, really valuable and important. And I think the reason small goals are really valuable because it builds our confidence and it gives us a win. And once we get one little win, we build our confidence into that big, gnarly goal that we're after.
And that's how most people are wired. And you have to look at how you're wired. And most people are wired that small wins will give them that momentum. And so I think short-term and long-term goals are critical for most people, right? There are some people that are wired a little bit different that do look at things as I don't lose. Like we all know some of them. And I try to be that, but I have some people that are such amazing examples of that it's hard to put me in the category. But where they don't set small goals, and this is very few and far between, right? It's not the majority. They set them high, but they don't allow themselves to get down because it's taking longer, or it's this big goal out there. Again, it's learn, and they realize they're just going to learn a lot along the way. When most of us have to have wins.
But if I could pose this idea. I think at one point they did go for some small goals and they were able to build some confidence. And that's why eventually they can go for the big gnarly goals and they don't need the small ones anymore because they've hit them. They've matched it. Yeah. They know where they're at. So, but I do feel like small attainable goals is really important. And since
I agree with you.
Almost 50% of people decided that fitness was their goal. And if that is your goal or it's something that you want to achieve, I think we should give some little examples of what you can do as small wins to then hit a big gnarly goal. So a big gnarly goal for some people could be, if I keep it in my arena, could be to compete and get on stage in a bodybuilding competition.
Right? Yeah, whether you end up being a career or not, it's setting a goal. We had a client our good friend this year do that, right? And I doubt he'll ever compete again, but he's like, I just want to get in the best shape of my life, right?
Yep.
It's like, why allow myself to die and not at one point got in the very best shape? And he did, got on stage and accomplished that goal.
Exactly. So that's an example. Running a marathon, a half marathon, 10K, 5K. Those can be big goals for people, right? What else?
Well, I think that even from if we go down the fitness acronym, with the mindset to be able to say, look, I'm only going to be happy and positive. That's a huge, crazy goal, and you got to work through all these things versus having the smaller goal of daily. I'm gonna be a little bit happier. I'm not gonna think of things as losing or say I can't. Right? Those are small ones, but the big one is live this blissful, happy, joyous life.
Yeah, and so some small attainable goals as you're trying to reach that one would be to journal and to get your feelings on
Get your
paper.
hit.
Yeah.
Health identity trait.
Figure out who you really want to identify as and make that your being.
Absolutely. And then nutrition, right? The ultimate goal there is to eat in such a way that you can live the longest, the healthiest. And we know what it is. It's zero processed foods, right? Whole food based, zero processed foods. All of your fruits, vegetables, berries, grains are organic and meat very sparingly, but what meat you might have is completely organic, grass fed. And that should be the goal because that is what will get you the healthiest, longest life. And that's way out there for most people. But you can start today by getting off the highest processed foods, right?
Or sometimes it's less about eliminating at first and more about adding what you can do. So if you are not used to eating anything raw, no raw fruits and vegetables in your diet, then add, every breakfast or every lunch or every dinner, some meal, I'm going to have at least something raw. And so just those small goals will make the big ones just more attainable. And for exercise, I feel like a lot of people bite off maybe a little more than they can chew.
And the big goal that you really should have with exercise is be able to meet some certain strength criteria. In other words, you should eventually get your VO2 max done. That's where you're going to run on a treadmill with, a mask on, and it's pretty crazy. But to be able to get your VO2 max up, you should be able to do 50 push-ups as guys, 20 as women. You should be able to hang from a bar for 2 minutes as guys, 1 minute for a woman. There's things that, and you can message us or look at a previous podcast. We actually went through some of them. But there are these goals that you should shoot for. But for a lot of people, they're far out.
Right. But also, an American should be exercising how long every day?
Right. Well, the research shows an hour and a half.
Okay. And that's just 6 or 7 days a week.
6.
6 days a week. So that is really unattainable for a lot of people, I would imagine. So instead of that being the goal today, a short-term goal, which you could say for the next, for the first quarter of 2024, my goal is to make it into the gym or exercise, even if that's at home, wherever that is, to exercise for, let's say, 20 minutes, 3 days a week. Or 5 minutes, 5 days a week. Because 5 minutes, 5 days a week is far better than 0. So I think the small attainable goals are important at the beginning.
Especially with exercise, because exercise is one of those things, if you go in and you tear it up in the gym, you're so sore you don't live for days.
Right.
Anyways, and it mentally messes with
Right.
you. So I completely agree, especially with exercise. And the key with it is consistency, because we have seen people for decades that go in the gym, go hard, then quit, and then come back and go in, and they don't stay consistent. And the ones that stay consistent and at the same time start improving their diet, man, their body just changes, their health improves dramatically. And it's like you said, I'd rather have someone be consistent in the gym, 15, 20 minutes a day, 5 minutes a day, than just to go once a week. And
Sure.
So that's really good. And the last one, supplements. Just take your basic supplements. That's an easy one. Take good whole food vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, probiotics. Just start taking them. 2 products. Take a good whole food vitamin mineral and take a digestive aid that has plant enzymes and probiotics. Just do that. And then you can work your way up to where you do blood work and get custom supplements and get, like you're supposed to with it. But
Really like that.
everyone can do the basics.
But so now let's circle back to what Doug was saying at the beginning, that surrounding yourself with the people that you want to be more alike is probably the biggest thing you can do to shift who you are into who you want to be. And I know that's been really important for us. And I know for myself, hiring a coach that competes at a different level than I do is really smart and really good, because it puts me into this new environment, and it puts me into this new circle of people that are also working at this high level. And it's easy for me to stay in my little small gym and think, oh, I'm accomplishing so much and I'm getting so much better. But I have to have some people around me that are really hard to achieve what they're doing, but it makes me push harder.
Yeah, and it's in every area, like we'd mentioned at first, and I think that's why we go to mastermind groups. We spend so much time. We create our own mastermind groups with the doctors, and is we want to be in that environment to feel that energy and that vitality. And the other factor with that that's really important is to look to trusted figures, and you need to make sure the people you're looking to is somebody you can trust. They've been there, they've done that, and that's so critical. And I think today in the world of social media and influence, so many people say to do things, and if you really looked into it, why would you want what they have? And that's really, really, really important to us. And there's a friend that we met while David Meltzer's that gave a talk, and he was talking about the importance of trusted figures. And we fly a lot. I fly a little bit more, sometimes the smaller planes. We were on a small plane the other day, and you hit that turbulence. And when you hit that turbulence, you look to a trusted figure. You don't look to the person next to you, right? Because they're like freaking out at times. You look to the stewardesses. And the stewardesses just keep on making their drinks and they're good. You're like, oh, we're good, right? And you just keep on. But if they freak out, I'm going to freak out, right? But they're trusted. Like, we trust that what they're going to do, that we've got it, we can model that, and we can, base things off of it. And so same holds true in the world of, if 50% of Americans want to improve their fitness, they need to look to people that do that, and to organizations that do that, and make sure that it's places that you can trust and you can look to, and that if basically you're going to say, look, do I want what they have? And if you do, then there's a good chance that's a trusted source.
Right. Yeah. And I think as you're trying to expand your 5 people, who you hang out with, who you gravitate towards, who you get knowledge from, right? Hiring a coach in different areas can be really, really valuable, because that coach can become part of your circle. And then a fitness coach, a health coach, a nutrition coach, a life coach, a finance coach. It's just everywhere.
And so here's a cool little financial hack with that. Because in each of those areas, right, the mindset coach, fitness coaches, right, financial coaches, we know of people that charge $100,000 to $250,000 a year for each one. You're like, well, wait, I'm out $3 million for my coaches, right? So here's the hack. The hack is this: it could cost you zero. It could cost you zero. And the way to go about it is take advantage of social media and everything today. Is there's people I follow that don't know me, but first of all, I vetted them, meaning I wanted to make sure that they were legit. So I did a little research, and hacking and things, and found out, like, oh, okay, they have, what I would like. And so I will follow them, and I'll look at their stories, and I'll follow what they're saying, and hopefully they're doing a good job on their presence on social media. And boom, I've got somebody, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be someone. We live in a small town. So some of our people have to be virtual, although we try to get there as much as possible. You can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to be there. You need to feel that vibe, that energy in person, but you're not always able to do it financially or just with time.
Yeah, and I think finding people that resonate with you, although somebody could be miles and miles ahead of you in whatever they are, fitness, whatever it is, your souls will gravitate towards each other. If it feels right, then.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. I like that. So let's close. I'll give my final thought and let you give yours. Let's finish it up.
New Year's resolution for 2024, Doug.
My biggest one?
Yeah.
In what area?
I don't know. Give me anything.
Good heavens.
I know. I got you.
Really put me on the spot.
I really did. Do you even have a goal for 2024?
I have a lot of goals for 2024. So we set our little goal sheets and put in here, and I'll tell it, by the way. Ask us if you need help with a goal sheet. We make one every year that goes through the main 4 pillars of setting your goals financially, spiritually, morally, and physically. And so I think that, those are important. We set a financial goal last year to achieve something that was really, really big in our life, one of those milestones you go look at, and we're able accomplish that. So I'm not looking at the financial one being the most important this year. I think really for me this year is the service goal of mine, because we've learned so much that the more we serve our children, it's the best way to teach them. The more we serve others, it comes back to us a hundredfold. And so we have an exact number at OHS of how many people we want to serve. And so I have that goal.
Cool.
And it really keeps you waking up when you're supposed to, doing what you're supposed to, because you have this goal of service.
I love that.
Okay, what's yours?
Well, mine sounds terrible now. Just kidding, it doesn't, because it's an amazing goal for myself. But since we're talking about fitness, and that's kind of the main thing people want to put out there, my goal for 2024 is to win the natural figure open at Natural Olympia. So
Love it. I love it. All right. So to close for me, I think the last little tip that we could give that hopefully makes it a little different than all these other podcasts talking about goals and New Year's resolutions is that if you look at everything as either a win or to learn, then that's the first part. But there's another part to it, or else you're going to keep learning, right? and that's bad. Is I love Tony Robbins. He's like, the guy come up to him and says, "I have 12 years of experience," and I goes, "No, you don't. You got 1 year experience 12 times because you didn't learn crap." It's like you keep learning over and over and over again. And it really, hit me hard. And so as you learn, in other words, like Hilary, let's go back to Hilary's. She wants to do 3 times, right? She's done it a few times.
no, I've done 3.
You've done 3.
I'm
It's
looking
not,
for my first open.
no, but per your goal for your tubs for your.
Oh. I'm like, what are you talking
No,
about?
for you, yeah, I know you're on Figure Masters 3 times. I got it.
I need this.
Yeah. So the cold plunge.
I got it.
So she could say, okay, yeah, that's a learn and play that game, but not make any changes. So she's going to do that same thing over and over again. So my last point is that as you mentally say, I'm not losing, I didn't fail, I just learned, you have to remove obstacles. You have to say, okay, I learned, what obstacle can I remove so that next time I won't learn, I'll win. So in this case with the cold plunging, Hilary has to say, okay, what obstacle do I have to remove to be able to make it so that I will do it 3 times a week? And she has to maybe set time so she can psych herself up before the time she's set to do the cold plunge or whatever it might be. In my case of whatever it might be for my physical health or for serving that, if we don't serve as many people, well, dang, where did I spend my time? And I'm going to remove that obstacle, like you've been so great with social media lately and the phone of setting it down, the obstacles I'm going to need to remove in order to reach that goal. Because it's not like, oh, I'm good, I'm learning, I'm not really losing. That's just it's like positive until
Honest
you got
with
to
yourself
actually have actions.
is also very important.
Yeah.
Remove
obstacles, be honest with yourself, find out what obstacles are in the way. That's my main point.
and make things easier.
Absolutely. The 20-second rule, right?
20-second rule.
Find a way to do something 20 seconds faster. In other words, put your clothes on first thing in the morning, set them next to the bed, you go to the gym.
And to be honest, that's why we, for our entire marriage, have always had a gym in our home. And at one point, it was just a part of our bedroom. At another point, we were able to dedicate a whole room to it, then a whole garage. Then we were able to build a garage. So it was always, no matter how much ability we had or finances we had, it was always part of our daily life. And we made it easier by keeping part of it in our home, which made it much better.
Absolutely.
And realistic.
Any last thoughts?
Do you have any last thoughts?
I think that the removing the obstacles, stay consistent. I love the quotes you have. Don't let the 18 days be you. Don't fail, just learn. And you give so many great tips on just the concept of, look, the majority of the people are wanting fitness in their life and the small steps.
Yeah.
Right?
And we would love to hear, this is my final thought, we would love to hear what your fitness goals are for this year and would love to help you achieve them. So let us know what they are.
Awesome. As always, this is Miss Natural Olympia Hilary.
This is Doug the Formulator. Soon it'll be Miss Cold Plunge Queen of the World.
Love it. Keep chewing.
Yeah.